Hi everybody, it's Lace, and I know I've been absent from the video making world, but that's because we've had double XP for a couple weeks in crafting, and then also again we've had the double XP weekends through the part of end of June and going all the way through July. It's a double XP weekend, so I'm sacrificing my personal gains to make this video for you. But it's something that it's a video that I've been wanting to do because I myself have struggled with this particular concept and being able to effectively and quickly use these things in the non-combat bar as I'm hunting. So, and that's what I'm going over today is being able to use things in your non-combat bar while you're hunting. Now I can hit Z and go into combat, and my glyphs and stuff are going to pop. Whatever I've got locked is going to stay locked and things like that. Um, when you go into the interface and you go to interface or you hit escape and go into settings and go into the interface, you'll see different things you can check. But then I guess it was controls I wanted to go into. Sorry about that. I hadn't rehearsed this ahead of time. But when you go into controls and you look at your key bindings, right, one thing you're going to notice is you've got all these things for hot bars that you can do discard and doing it, and you can set those to whatever keys you want. One set of things that you don't have is the ability to determine how you can pop these off. And these are typically going to be your potions is where I'd put them. I wouldn't want my potions coming up here because I want my combat glyphs to come up, not things that are kind of semi non-combat, which are potions. And that would be your poisons or your focus, your health and things like that. And I've loaded a few on here. I've got like 5 on here and just some common ones that I can burn during this demo. So let's say I'm hunting something, right? And I'm looking at my focus and it's going down or something. And you'll memorize what each one of these are. Now, one way to do it is to click it. It's going to have a cooldown timer and a little bit of a global, and then I can pop a poison one, right? And maybe I can do a restoration, which is health and focus. And these are not like the uber imbued ones, but you see how I can pop many potions at one time, and I'm moving my mouse around to do this. Now, if you're trying to move around and control things, and your mouse is going to be all over the map, so trying to come back down here and hit one of these, you know, especially if you're in PvP or something, it's very hard to be able to do this and move around. The one thing that's not in the interface is how can I do this without having to move my mouse? So if my mouse is way up here, how can I pop that potion off? Well, the answer is I hit Shift and 1, and I've now fired off this key in my non-combat bar. And I actually had to ask somebody how to do this. I'm like, I know it has to be there, you know, but I can't find it anywhere in the settings and stuff. And that's how it is. So it's just a Shift and 2, and now I fired this off. So while you're still using your WSAD keys to move around, I can quickly hit a Shift 3 and Shift 3, fire that off, and still be moving around. So especially in PvP, this is going to be very important to you. But even in PvE, if you're trying to get position on a mob and stuff, being able to hit a Shift and fire off a potion, you know, you're going to have to pause just for the, you know, split second, a part of a second to fire it off. The other thing to remember is, now while this one's on a cooldown, it doesn't mean I can't use another potion. So being able to stack potions down here in your non-combat bar is going to help give you a little bit more survivability. Maybe you got into a little bit, you know, bit off more, a little bit more than you can chew. So using those becomes a little easier. And again, if you don't know any better, you're probably trying to get position on the mob, trying to move that mouse. I'm moving around, my mouse is moving, I'm trying to do all these things, and trying to just click it to make it work makes the potions less attractive to you. So I just want to make sure everybody understood that Shift and the number fires off the non-combat thing. Now, there's not everything you can do while in combat, not everything that you can drag onto here you can do in combat. Like I can't use Purify from there, and I can't use Strength of Earth from there. I can use a piece of music, and that piece of music, depending on the type of instrument I have equipped, when I hit C for character, I have a fleet flute. So if I'm moving around, I can hit this, play some music. I can bounce, with a space bar to jump, or I can hit escape to stop, and it fired off the effect of the musical instrument. So again, having things in your non-combat bar gives you just those tiny advantages where you might be in trouble when facing a mob. Another thing is restoration does health and focus. You can have a focus potion, you can have a health potion on here, and you can have this. So I could hit Shift F1, or well, now we're not in combat, sorry. So it'd just be the one. But Shift 1, I can then, once the global goes down, which takes a couple seconds, I can hit that, and then I can hit a Shift 5, and that could kind of almost be like your oh my god, oh shit, whatever combination, and I just gave myself focus, health, and then a combination of focus and health just to boost me back up. Maybe I'm at the very end of a very tough mob, and I just need a little bit more to get me over the top. And then of course, your poison potions and things like that. So arranging these things down here is very beneficial to get you out of a tight scrape. So again, in summary, the big thing is when I'm in combat, it's shift and the number key of the potion or whatever I want to use. And there's plenty of different types of potions just beyond health, focus, and stuff like that. There's haste, there's resistance potions, and things like that. Now, one of the things that I'm advocating for is, you see how it's just static? And if you've played a lot of games, there's usually a rotator here where you can have different decks of these. I don't know if it would be too OP to be able to rotate it, and so you could have 10 potions here, you could rotate it and have it there. But we have combat decks. Why don't we have non-combat decks, to where I could have one that's solo, the one I call my solo non-combat bar, the one that I have my solo boss mob one, the one that I have my solo I don't know, everyday one, or my solo social one, where maybe eventually we'll get the ability to drag emotes on there, So if we can have so many of these decks, which are tied to equipment, why can't we have non-combat decks associated as well, maybe with the combat deck? I wouldn't be opposed to that. Or even just if there was a rotator bar here, like in most games, where I can rotate and click through. I know I have potions 1 through 5 on this one. I can do a quick click, and now when I hit my shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it fires those things off. Something very simple like that. I know that's asking for more game design, which costs money and stuff like that. But in the meantime, you do have this ability to load them. You're just going to have to load them situationally. So you have to know that I'm going into a heavy fight. I need to load these 5 potions perhaps here. Or I'm going into an easy area. I only need these. Or I'm hanging out and socializing, and, eventually maybe I'm playing music. I can put different sheet music on here and play it very quickly and stuff like that. Also, just a reminder, you don't have to have a piece of sheet music to play songs. If you have the .abc or MML file and you have them stored in your sheet music folder, which I've gone over in other videos, you can just do /play to play the song. But sometimes if if you have a instrument equipped with certain effects, dragging that piece of sheet music onto here is how you can fire that off in combat. Again, you can't change it from the shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. It's not in the UI to do that. So that is the way you can use these skills in combat with just a quick key rather than a mouse drag. So in conclusion, yeah, that was a great shot of the grass, right? So in conclusion, I really hope this helps you, and if, you're going to have to plan a little bit, since, it's kind of static what you can put on there, but you can experiment and see, and just by hitting Z to go into combat, to ensure that whatever you drag on here is going to be allowed in the combat mode. So again, like Purify, I can see this is kind of grayed out. I can't use that in combat mode. so that's probably not the best place to put Purify. Usually I have that there at the end of a fight or something, which is why I have it. Strength of Earth, that's like one of my pre-buffs for fights, so that's why I have that there, rather than wasting the slot up here and stuff. So hopefully this just gives you a little more knowledge of the game, something that, it took me, and I can freely admit, years to realize that I could hit shift and do this. It's why I avoided poisons for so long, because it was a pain in the butt to have to move my mouse here, and that was just because I was ignorant and didn't realize I could hit shift. I knew there had to be some way people were doing it because I wasn't hearing complaints, but because it's not in the UI, how would I know this? It's nowhere that I could find, and maybe I'm blind and I didn't see it, but I swear I've looked through that many times over several years to realize how I could hotkey these things via a keyboard. And the answer is shift and that number. But I swear I can't find it anywhere in anything. Maybe it's in one of the player handbooks that I didn't read, but if you're like me and you did an RTFM, this should help you. So, in closing, take care, everybody. Happy hunting, be safe, and suck up that double XP every weekend from now to the end of July.